effective and all that, getting hit multiple times. Coming out of that bike section, more drivers coming to blows.
Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the Sim Racers Group F4 Championship. This is the 12th and final round of the season, coming to you tonight from Phillip Island. My name is Ron Maunz. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Tom O'Gorman. Joshua Wilk is our producer for tonight's broadcast. Well, Tom, this journey that began many, many moons ago now ends here right as we get close to the start of summer. It's Phillip Island to bring this season to a conclusion, a track that may be more famous as a venue for motorcycle racing, but cars can rip it here very, very well. So I feel like we're in for an actually very competitive and certainly compelling season finale.
Yeah, that season finale thing is what I'm most excited for. We've had 11 races so far in this Asia-Pacific calendar. Lots of challenging racetracks, lots of learning this season for the Formula 4 drivers as we didn't follow the standard tracks that you might know from the US and Europe. A lot of surprises and interesting left turns and right turns up and down the Pacific region. But this one kind of back to the roots of more standard road course racing. One of the fastest circuits we've done this season as well. But the final championship standings to be determined. We already know our champion, David Borden, has locked it up, but then the rest of the top 10 effectively is still on the table. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll try to keep up with those points throughout the race. It's just a 20-minute sprint. It's going to happen quick.
Yeah, I'll take a quick little gander at those championship points here so everybody can see what the situation is for these drivers as we get towards the end of this campaign here. There you can see David Borden up at the top. 197 points is his tally right now. Probably going to break the door and get above 200 by the end of tonight. That'd be pretty awesome. Nathan Perkins is in second. James McDonald has put on a massive charge ever since he came back a couple of weeks ago, of course, with his fireman schedule, taking some breaks throughout the season. One of our newest colleagues here at Slow Motion Broadcasting as well. He is in third. 137 points is his tally right now. He's only 9 in front of Jacob Guyton in P4, who we will touch on here momentarily. Jose Navas completes your top 5. We do have some drivers starting from pit lane here in this race. We'll talk about those in due course. But in the meantime, I think we'll go back to our 4th place driver in the points. Our current 3rd place qualifier is not out there on the racetrack right now, which is not the best of timing. But we will use this early part of the broadcast to bring in Sim Racers Group admin, an occasional driver as well, that being Tyler Hagan, who's now joining us here in the broadcast booth. Tyler, you have a special announcement to make here at the start of the show.
I surely do. Longtime viewers of the Sim Racers Group races on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights will understand that we have a couple awards that we like to give out every season. We have the season title that goes out to both our F4 and F3 champions, and that's earned via the usual point structure that you see. And when you win a season in F4 or F3, your name's engraved on a plaque that we have hanging on the wall at our global headquarters here in San Jose. We have one additional award for each season and each league, so F3 and F4 each have an award called the Billy. Billy Campbell Peach was one of the best people I have ever known, and it's one of the best people Jason has ever known, and we lost him tragically way too soon. He raced cleanly, respectfully, and with heart. Each season this award is voted on by the community. It can only be won a single time and is more prestigious than winning a championship. We ask every league member to tell us which driver they feel most embodies the spirit of Billy and ask, it's the last lap of the last race of the season. You're going side by side with another driver for the win of the championship. Who would you like to see most next to you? This season's F4 Billy Award recipient, almost by unanimous vote, is Jacob Guyton.
Yeah, I gotta say, throughout this season, not only has he been a fantastic driver to keep our eyes on out there on the racetrack, he's also been fantastic, person as well. In the times that we've gotten an opportunity to have a chat with him, Tyler, thinking back to some of the earliest broadcasts I did here for Sim Racers Group back in early 2025, I got the opportunity to cover Billy out there on the racetrack a couple of times, and never got the opportunity to speak to the man himself, but the stories that I heard were one of a very great man. But Tyler, thank you for coming in to announce that. Obviously, a very prestigious award and a very deserving winner as well. Fantastic driver and a fantastic person as well.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you. Thanks for all you guys do, and thanks for having me on.
And thank you very much, Tyler, for joining us here in the broadcast booth. Tyler Hagan, Sim Racers Group admin and driver as well. We want to congratulate Jacob Guyton on winning this season's Billy Award. He'll likely be making the step up into F3 next year based off the performances that he has put on. Speaking of the performances out there on the racetrack, Tom, obviously switching our attention now into qualifying. Get to talk about some race cars going fast around the track. Guyton is now out there on the racetrack, qualified in 3rd at the moment with some very heavy hitters throughout the field.
He's right in the noise with everybody he's concerned with, though. Nathan Perkins sits 2nd in the championship. James McDonald sits 3rd. Right now, Perkins has about a 15-point advantage, so he just really needs a clean, maybe top 5 finish tonight, to hold on to that second spot. But James McDonald, Jacob Guyton for third and fourth are not out of the question for the second place spot in the championship. So we'll keep an eye on that. But right now, Perkins is your provisional pole sitter. This would be, I think this would be 1, 2, 3, 4 poles in a row. If I'm reading this right, the graphic's a little fuzzy. Either way, he's been on the pole a whole bunch, and he's barely, actually hasn't been off the podium since round 7. So he's just been on an absolute tear. McDonald has been on the podium almost every round he's contested, but he's missed a bunch of races. So he's kind of right there in the noise, sitting third, but again, needs to have a strong night. He sits second on the overall grid. And one thing that we've seen here at Phillip Island is the times do tend to be relatively close, but this is a somewhat mistake-prone racetrack. These corners are so long and sweepy. There's a lot of space to take lines choices, and things just go very different when you go side by side, more different than a lot of other racetracks because of maybe the nebulous space that's available here. So keep an eye out for drivers to really be on their P's and Q's tonight. And there's a couple of corners, one of these right now as we ride on board with Jason Trantham coming into turn number 4. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Is it's just really easy to get things just a tiny bit wrong here at Phillip Island. It always costs you time, but sometimes it puts the car towards the tire barriers as well.
Yeah, no, thinking about the times that we've gotten the opportunity to cover racing here at Phillip Island on Slow Motion Broadcasting, thinking, of course, about the Sim Racers Group world, whether it be here in these Formula 4 cars or over in the F3s, whether it be in the Weekend Warriors world with the Spec Racer Fords, the Formula Fords, or the Formula Vs, this track always provides that very unique style of racing where we've got those flat-out sections that keep the field packed in like sardines adrift rather strong here in these F4 cars, so keep an eye on that. But then you've got the tie and twisties that will test these drivers to no end, and really, you know, you've got a solid amount of runoff area, but in terms of the actual track itself, it is rather narrow. You would expect this sort of track width to be found on a street circuit and a street circuit alone. Thankfully, though, these drivers do have some very soft shoulders to the racing surface, so they don't have to worry about finding a barrier, but certainly going to be a tough race for these drivers to manage. I think the key for the night is going to be staying on top of it from the drop of the green flag all the way through until the end, Tom. This will be probably the most stressful night that these drivers have had in quite some time.
Again, just a 20-minute race on deck. So once we go racing from the standing start, it's all going to happen very, very quickly. Some of these drivers are going to get the opportunity for maybe one more flyer coming down onto the front straightaway now. Jose Navas Molina is one of them. I want to give a shout out to a couple new drivers joining us here tonight as well, who are looking forward to maybe running the entire season next time, graduating from up to this intermediate Formula 4 league for Sim Racers Group. We have Jason Chess here in the 6th position, the number 998. Joining us for the first time in the Formula 4 series here on the live stream, and also Henry Reback in the number 111, appropriately in 11th position there as well. So this field's so close, though. Look at this, 1st through 13th, effectively on the same 1.2 seconds or so. This is really cool.
And, you know, I mentioned the Weekend Warriors just a little bit earlier on here in this broadcast. I do want to say Stevie Ray is not only out here on the racetrack once again here for the season finale, he's actually there at the Sim Racers Group HQ in California. So he made the trip out from Texas. He's there right now, and that would be pretty cool to see him out there in person on the racetrack here for this latest round of the championship. Not taking a time in qualifying, but we'll look to have a chat with him once this broadcast is done and dusted with. Well, thank you all for tuning into the action, not just for this season finale broadcast, but all season long here in the Sim Racers Group. You know, past couple of seasons here on these F4 shows, I've worn many hats between producing the races, commentating the races, sometimes pulling double duty, and you know, being the producer, you get to see all the community, but being a commentator, you get to be a part of all the discussion going on about these races. Gotta say, the Sim Racers Group broadcasts always bring out some of the most lively chats here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And Tom, I think I can speak for the both of us here. It's always good to have a lively chat, even when we're occasionally getting some constructive criticism. I know I always keep my tab open, so when somebody tells me 16 different ways in which I should bounce my head off a wall, I can take in that constructive criticism instantly.
Yeah, and not take it to heart at all, it sounds like. That's good. I love it.
I put them all a little post-it note and go to bed with them. Anyways, getting towards the end of qualifying right now, the checkered flag out for about 2 minutes. It looks like Nathan Perkins once again going to grab the pole. We've really gotten to see Nathan Perkins evolve throughout the season, haven't we, Tom?
Yeah, we have. He was basically a perennial top 10 finisher for the first half of the season. All of a sudden, round 7, I forget what he said. He just said the track clicked and he was starting to get some extra driver coaching, I think, with Stephen Case, and just a combination of practice and work and putting in the time. He's not been off the podium since then, so that's a really impressive run. He was on pole round 8 and round 9. James McDonald's been on pole the last 2 rounds as well. The other championship battle I do want to take a little bit of a moment to highlight is for 5th. I think that these drivers are all incapable of moving further up than 5th, but Jose Navas, Greg Meyer, Jason Trantham, Dustin Brown, all sitting about 10 on the same 10 points, so they're all within 10 points of each other. And the last interesting part about this, which we'll maybe allude to before the grid starts going, is 4 drivers tonight are going to have to start from the pit lane based on driver infractions from the stewards of this league. So Jose Navas Molina, Greg Meyer, David Borden, and Sarab Bays will all start from the pit lane, even if they took qualifying times here. All of those drivers are involved in some sort of championship battle as well. So maybe not the easiest night coming into the final round here for some of them, but especially for David Borden, who's won the most races of everybody. He's got the biggest job. He's already declared the champion. Congratulations, David Borden. Now you got to drive from the back, keep it clean, and try to see if you could put a stamp on it here at the end.
Yeah, so got to be seeing those drivers start from pit lane, but your starting grid here for this race, well, I'll get that up on screen here in a few moments' time, but it's going to be Nathan Perkins starting from the pole, James McDonald alongside him on the front row, Jacob Guyn and Jose Navas in 3rd and 4th as they are meant to line up, David Borden meant to line up in 5th, he'll start from the pits, Jason Chess, newcomer, will be in P6, Rudy Samudio in 7th, Damian Dietrich in P8, Brennan Ketaneni in 9th, Greg Meyer completes your top 10, Henry Reback will start this race fittingly in that 111 car in double 1P11. 10-10 off of the pole there. Jason Trantham will start this race in 12th. It's Ryan Shea starting in 13th. Kenny Stepp in 14th place. Stevie Ray and Sarah Bays will complete your final 16-car starting grid here in the season finale in Season 2 of 2026 for the Sim Racers Group Formula 4 Championship. I want to thank you all once again for tuning into the action, and do want to say that if you are enjoying this action and don't want to miss out on what we have in store for Season 3 SMB Summer here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, you should probably hit that subscribe button. Drivers down in pit lane waiting for that green flag to come out here. For the final time, the green flag flies and the drivers are on their way. Fantastic start from James McDonald. Punch out, whole shot off the line. Gonna try and pull out in front side by side with he and Nathan Perkins heading into turn number 1. One of these drivers is gonna have to yield. Neither of them do. McDonald, though, gonna hold on to the inside line as he heads his way through turn number 2, and Jacob Guyton jumping his way up into second as well, but he slips up through the turn. That's going to be Nathan Perkins looking back down the inside, crossover move as they head their way through one of the fastest turns of the lap. Turn number 3, keeping the momentum rocking and rolling into the first heavy braking zone of the lap. Will we see drivers go for some moves? We will see some drivers jockey for positions out there on the racetrack, but not for your top 5. There remain nose to tail.
Look at the other cars joining this train of 3 at the front. Damian Dietrich in the dark green with yellow accents, up 4 positions already, challenging for the top 3 spot. A little bit of a break, and then we get to Jason Trantham, who really sits in a great position in that battle for 5th in the championship, but he's the top driver in that battle that started on the racetrack. Everybody else in that battle started in the pit lane, so he's in a really good spot as well, running there in 5th, the dark red and black. Ooh, a little bit of a mistake from Damian Dietrich. That's such a complicated exit in that corner, but also entry downhill braking zone, no anti-lock brakes. James McDonald, Jacob Guyton, Nathan Perkins are your top 3. What a start for them.
And looking our way throughout the pack, been a good start for James McDonald, who's going to be the hole punch, heading down the start-finish straightaway for the first time. But Jacob Guyton going to get the draft. Here they go, heading down into turn number 1. Guyton, you know, is going to be close. Doesn't go for the move, though. Heading down to turn number 1. Nathan Perkins reeled in that gap once more, but he remains closely knit in tow. Keep an eye on these drivers. They continue to negotiate the opening stages of this race. We also received word it's Henry Ryback there in P7, so that's our bad Google search just failing us at the worst. That's usually how things go with Google search nowadays.
Classic.
You love to see it, now you hate to see it. But either way, but a good start from McDonald, who still leads him out of 4.
Jacob Guyton having a little bit of a look on the entry, maybe just a slightly different choice of lines. This looks like he's getting on the throttle a little bit sooner, getting the car down into the corner a bit earlier. That might work the tires a bit harder. This is a 20-minute race, just long enough that tire wear does become a bit of a conversation towards the end, especially in braking zones and acceleration zones. We're talking turns 10 and turn 4, really. Here we come into turn 10. Guyton running a bit wide. That's a big flat-out run, but then he lunges up the inside already with some brake block up on the right front. And then you really have to kind of navigate through the eye of a needle here coming through turn 11 to keep the car flat out. Guyton goes defensive. Perkins will going to have to take the long way around if he wants this spot. These two are duking it out for the wrong spot. James McDonald is driving away.
Yeah, James McDonald got to say, thank you very much, boys. I'll take advantage of this and just bing, check off, drive off into the sunset. He's already doing it right now. We'll say one driver just dropped down a couple of spots. It was Jason Trantham on a sideways snap as he headed his way through turn number 10. Spun around almost completely. He's now down in 9th as we take a look. And we ride back the Swedish newcomer in that number 111 machine. Just got a move done there. Ryan Chia, though, diving off the track as they head their way through turn number 2. I'll tell you what here, Tom, and this is honest. So if I had $1 for every single, actually, gotta prove my point once more. Jason Trantham just went off through turn number 2 as well. If I had $1 for every single time I saw a driver go off the track heading through turn number 2 here at Phillip Island, I'd probably be able to pay for at least some of the floor damage.
Yeah, it's classic Phillip Island. That's really about as good as it goes. He got back on the racetrack relatively quickly. Ken Estep in another good battle, following Greg Meyer, and he's got a mirror full of Pranay Ketaneni just behind in the number 39. I think Ketaneni was involved in some contact on turn 1, lap 1, but the damage is off in this intermediate league, so the car has repaired itself. But I saw that orange car floundering for a moment. Either way, he's trying to find a way through on Ken Estep, the battle for 11th and 12th. Greg Meyer, the car ahead, is starting to pull away.
And taking a look to see what may have happened here with Pranay Ketaneni. This was heading down into turn number 1 of the initial start. Bit of a stack up there, and contact being made into turn number 1. Snags the inside tire barrier there. Thankfully, here in this series, no damage. So to those tuning into the series for the first time, that damage that appeared on the car, bing, it's just going to disappear. So he's perfectly fine. Currently battling right now with himself a Ken Estep heading down to turn number 1. Just punched his way up into 11th. Stevie Ray is also down at the back of the pack. There's a reason for that. He picked up a black flag at the start of this race and had to come down pit lane to serve that. We'll take a look at a replay to show you what may have gone down here with Stevie right towards the beginning of this race, but certainly a disheartening start on his little trip out to California.
Yeah, it's a big adjustment for Stevie to go out to not only 3 time zones across the country, but a totally different sim rig. It's a big adjustment. Here's Saurabh Vase, who, by the way, is in a great battle for the championship just inside the top 10, but he was one of the drivers that had to start at the back of the pack here, working his way up through, already up 5 from that grid spot. He did not take a time in qualifying, so that's all legitimate. Next car in his crosshairs is Pranay Ketaneni. Here's the battle for the lead, though. It has not changed. James McDonald, Jacob Guyton, Nathan Perkins still running about equidistant from one another and have pulled away from Damian Dietrich by about 1.5 seconds.
And keeping our eyes locked on the keeping our eyes locked on the battles. I nearly said locked on the bottles there. We'll save the celebration for after this race is done. Don't want to hit the sauce before we get too lost up in the action. We're not even at the halfway mark, for crying out loud. Here's Jason Chess and Damian Dietrich battling for 2 of the spots inside the top 5. 2 very different cases with these drivers, but there is one thematic through line to talk about the both of them. both newcomers in the Sim Racers Group world. Damian Dietrich made his debut a little bit earlier on this season. As we've been able to see his evolution, him be able to take to this car like a duck to water, even with that little bit of contact heading through turn number 4 a couple of moments ago. The results have gotten a heck of a lot better. Finished on the podium, if my memory serves me correctly, last time out at Tsukuba. He's been really quick in that 044 machine, and looking forward to seeing what he may be able to do come time for next season here in the Sim Racers Group F4 world. Jason Chess, though, one of the newest drivers to arrive on the Sim Racers Group scene. I'll get all the information together here soon, but I believe he's just now making his debut. I believe this will probably be his only F4 start from what I heard. And I will say, folks, and this is honest, I've been battling a cold since about midway through Saturday, so I've been kind of existing in a state of delirium for the past couple of days, so this may not be fully accurate. You can take this with however many grains of salt you want. Jason Chess may be getting an immediate promotion up to F3, from what I heard, but again, you can take that with a grain of salt.
Well, this performance would be a hint at why it's such a strong race to come out and already be battling effectively for a podium, as these two are really not too far back from McDonald, Perkins, and Guyton. By the way, a change for position for second. Nathan Perkins and Jacob Guyton did swap spots, as now Damian Dietrich makes the classic Phillip Island mistake, goes agricultural coming off of turn 2. And it's going to drop back to now a 4-car battle. Or really, it's kind of a 3-car battle. Here's what happened for the position change, second and third. Oh, Guyton just slips off the racetrack. That's Phillip Island for you.
Yeah, one small little blink, and you're going to fall off the racetrack and wind yourself up in a little bit of trouble. It's those gravel traps that I think are probably the most ominous parts of this place, because in these F4 cars, I don't have the information directly on me, but they aren't tanks. They don't weigh 1,000 tons. So when you do go off the racetrack, it's basically like you're slamming straight into a concrete wall as it gets very close between your top 3. Nathan Perkins got very flirtatious with the diffuser of James McDonald's car. And then you can see Jacob Guyton nearly piling in there as well. Really a 3-car pincer movement hang down to turn number 10. I don't like that.
Yeah, just a little knock, knock, knock on the transmission there, the gearbox right at the back of these cars. So easy to make a mistake on that downhill entry into turn 1 after you come off, into turn 10, excuse me, as you come off of the big sweep uphill through turn 9. We'll jump on board with Guyton. Here's how easy turn 2 is to get right or wrong. Look at how it just kind of falls away on the exit there. All 3 of these drivers nail it, but it's so difficult to get your timing down and keep your eyes pulled towards the exit to get on throttle early enough. This is a meaningful straightaway in these cars, and now Nathan Perkins looks to be the one that nailed the exit. He goes a little bit offensive on James McDonald, who responds, goes defensive into turn 4, runs the inside, but it's a huge run around the outside and then a spin for the number 5, Nathan Perkins. I thought he was going to get the slingshot, picked up the throttle too early and loses the back end. Remember, he needed a good race tonight. He's second in the championship. That could be a disaster.
Yeah, that is going to be a real sting, especially with James McDonald leading this race and Jacob Guyton now into second. Huge mistake from Perkins heading out of the turn, but an easy one to make as well. In these F4 cars, we've kind of seen this throughout this season here, Tom, where drivers have been struggling for grip heading out of the turns. It's like a dog running on a freshly polished wood floor, and there you can see it.
And lucky the damage is off for Guyton as well, as he took a hit on the exit. This is what it looked like on board with Perkins, just trying to carry the momentum and just loses it. As soon as you pick up the throttle, you're right that these cars just, they're not powerful, they're not particularly difficult to hold on to, but something about low speed corners into getting into the throttle, it really is probably the most common mistake and the easiest mistake to make in these race cars.
Yes, as we continue to see this battling with side-by-side action here, this Greg Meyer battling with Jose Navas side-by-side into turn number 1. Navas looking for P8 right now, and he may be able to get it done, but Greg Meyer in that number 8 machine not exactly backing out of it, still keeping a presence on that inside line as they head their way through turn number 2, and looks like he may be able to ring the bell and get his way up another spot. So Meyer jumping his way into 8th, but Navas fighting back side by side through the long sweeper of turn number 3 into the heavy braking zone. The cold slap of reality of turn number 4. Meyer punching out, able to get that spot. Navas backing out there in that number 4 machine. Also, keeping tabs with the chat as well. First off, this was our little SMB chat got notified by Jason Cotcher that Jason Chess will be running in the F4s next year. He's going to be a very strong contender. Apparently was recruited in by F3 driver in the Sim Racers group, Skylar Vicroy, who I've gone to cover in F3 machinery as well as an LMP2. He's a very multifaceted driver here in the sim. Keep an eye on Jason Chess this upcoming campaign. People also asking in the YouTube chat as well, saying that the stream is glitching out. YouTube's been having some consistent live streaming glitches here. Break the Fourth Wall is doing a broadcast on another network a little bit earlier on here tonight and was running the exact same problem. So I can see right now in our little green room right now that all is go. That is unfortunately a YouTube glitch. We do not have control over that, and I cannot slander YouTube. They still offer me some pretty significant paychecks on my own channel, so I do not want to say that because I quite like to be able to eat. Side by side, Navas and Meyer still continuing to squabble.
This has been so fun. Over a lap now of swapping positions. Now Greg Meyer goes for the big run around the outside, big late apex, and will take every ounce of draft that he can get. By the way, these two are involved in the championship battle for 5th. They're only 5 points apart. Right now, they would finish in the same order in the championship, but if either makes a mistake, that will lock that 5th position up as well. Now, this looks familiar. Greg Meyer taking the same risk that Perkins took. He makes it stick, but is not able to advance his position coming off of turn 4. This has brought Sarab Vase into the conversation as well. This battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th, ooh, they stress me out every time they put those inside cut tires up on the curb. I know exactly what can happen. That car wants to come around quick if that goes just a little bit wrong. But so far, Molina and Meyer have both done it to good effect. Here comes that challenging braking zone into turn 10. Navas Molina a little bit wide. Whoa, Meyer really deep on the brakes. A bit of lockup. Vase just doesn't really know what to do with it, but gets a really nice squared up exit. Actually looks like he's going to fall off the back of these two just slightly.
Yeah, so it looks like the momentum is just okay enough whereby that gap will not balloon as they head their way out of the final turn onto the start-finish straight away. Vase still going to have a front row seats to that battling right up in front. We'll have to hope that these drivers do battle for him to close up. And in fact, they do. Meyer pops out just in the last moment, heading down to turn number 1, looking for that spot, unable to get it there. So Jose Navas Molina still holding on to P8 at the moment. He was one of those drivers who started this race from down in pit lane. So nice little recovery drive for him so far here in this race to cut his way through like a hot knife through butter. But so was Greg Meyer. So I guess it's just drivers coming back from the cellar, able to put on a good charge in their own right here. It was Vase as well.
Did. Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Oh, boy. Well, I will say they all started from the same spot, so I guess it's just been a consistent sort of like reunion. Is that what we've got going on right now? Is that the deal? I'm definitely not making excuses for myself.
Look at this, actually. While we were on that battle for 8th, James McDonald has pulled up about a 2-second lead over Jacob Guyton. I have to wonder if there was maybe another just small mistake at some point. Maybe they're on lap 7. That might be the culprit there. 1.2 seconds different between the two there at the bottom of your screen. But that's also brought Jason Chess into the conversation. He's already on the podium after that small mistake from Nathan Perkins, who has settled right back into 4th. So not the end of the world with that small mistake. But he is far out of the battle for the top 3. And I really think the best battle on the racetrack, other than down a little further in the field, might be for 2nd spot, as Guyton now has big pressure from Chess coming in.
Yeah, and so Chess eyeballing a podium in his series debut. What a start that would be. Jason Chess applying this pressure right now in that race car. Definitely stands out with the livery on it, but either way you slice it, this is a good, very firm debut to start off your time in the Sim Racers group world. I was actually looking into this because I was curious. He's got an A license in Formula cars, only sitting at around an 1800 I rating, which I think the I rating system at this point is just pretty much entirely depending on whether or not you do run in officials, which officials at this point on iRacing are basically like walking out into the middle of Calcutta after a soccer riot. It's not really something that you want to deal with on a daily basis, but I digress. Jason Chess, though, still applying that pressure onto Jacob Guyton, who had a bit of a trip up as he headed his way through turn number 10, and now slipping back into the tails right now, side by side, as they head their way across a stripe. Chess actually looking for it around the outside here, heading into turn number 1. Will he be able to sweep around? Will he be able to get the move done? Can Guyton hold him? Let's see. Chess able to maintain some pressure and keep a presence there on the inside line through turn number 2. Gotta try and keep that momentum rocking and rolling, and he clears them on corner exit. Fantastic move there from the newcomer.
It is a great move, and already feeling defensive down into turn 4. Look, hunting through the middle of the racetrack, trying to dissuade Guyton from making a move. Guyton thinks of it anyway. Oh, and they're both a bit deep into turn 4. Mirrored mistakes means no one gains anything from this one other than James McDonald, who now leads by almost 3 seconds after that position swap. Big rotation for Jason Chess coming through the entry of turn 6. That's Siberia, the name of that corner. And then we got through these long sweeping S's, flat out, decent amount of draft, but also some aero push as the cars get into this run uphill in turn 9. Guyton's still within striking distance, but I don't think it's this lap. He's got to be a little bit careful coming over the brow, not to make a mistake that's so easy to do. Gets it just right, perfectly done for our Billy Award winner, and lives to fight another lap. We're coming up to, is this going to be the white flag, Ron? I think it's just going to miss it. I think we'll get 2 more laps out of this one.
I believe this is going to be 2 laps left to go. So white flag coming out next time by. Definitely a little bit close there as they headed their way towards the stripe. But either way, slice it. It's been a fun race here at Phillip Island to bring this season to a conclusion. I will say, in full respect to fairness here after that Calcutta after a soccer ride comment I made, I will also say Philly after anything going down with any of our sports teams. Just in the interest of fairness, I figured I would leave that comment out there. I will say Jacob Guyton was getting a little bit close to Jason Chess, but was not able to get the move done here. These are the odd statistics that pop into my head midway through a show, so I'll share this one for all of you. If the results do remain the same through to the checkered flag, we'll have 3 different drivers on the podium whose first name starts with J, all of which entirely different. We'll have a James, a Jason, and a Jacob. It's thoughts like this that led to teachers separating me from the rest of the students in school.
Spot on, though. I've been getting them confused all night. Here's a battle for 6. David Borden has worked his way from pit lane start all the way up to that 6th spot, but he's got Ryback all over his 6 in that number 111. Here he comes up the inside. He's certainly thinking about the move, but Borden saw it coming and ran the perfect defense. Misses the apex intentionally to carry that speed on the way into the corner, but holds the position nonetheless. Again, this is already our championship winner there in that number 94 car. And just up the road, this is the battle for 4th. We've got a duel for 2nd, 4th, and 6th. Now, this is Damian Dietrich coming up the inside of Nathan Perkins. Perkins needs to hold on to a top 6 to hold on to 2nd in the championship. He's still doing okay, but they are side by side, dead nuts even into turn 1. In fact, Dietrich takes the spot. Oh, a bit of contact in the background between Perkins and between Ryback and Borden.
Yeah, Ryback and Borden still squabbling for 6th. Dietrich and Perkins still squabbling for 4th. And Jason Chess and Jacob Guyton battling for 2nd. This is when things start to get hot. Gotta feel bad for Josh in the production truck, having to be like a chameleon, looking at 16 different things at once. They're side by side as they head their way out of turn number 4. A little bit of contact there between Guyton and Chess. Chess now on the inside line through turn number 6, and he punches back up into 2nd place. Nathan Perkins has been able to get the spot over Damian Dietrich, about a 1/10.5 the gap between those drivers. Borden now in front of Henry Ryback. As we looked at that battle there, Greg Meyer able to hold on to that spot in front of Sarah Vase. Meanwhile, at the front of your field, as you can see, Jason Chess and Jacob Guyton. Guyton goes for the dive, heading into turn number 10. Where did that come from? Your Billy Award winner looking to finish this race in the silver position. Certainly given a sterling effort there. What a move. It didn't work out well. You still got to probably finish in 3rd, but what an attempt as we got towards the end. James McDonald gonna win this race. Is farther behind. It's gonna be a photo finish. Guyton pulls out at the end. Not enough. Jason Chest ends up in P2. Damian Dietrich, though, side by side with Nathan Perkins across the line. That was 44 thousandths of a second between those two drivers. No biggie. As we look a little bit farther behind, this is Greg Meyer and Sarah Vase, the final drivers, set to finish this race inside of the top 10. And breathe.
That was incredible racing from so many different drivers. I mean, all the way back to turn 10, Jason Chess and Jacob Guyton. I mean, that is the absolute epitome of embracing the race. Guyton threw a haymaker down in there, but was absolutely inch perfect. Jason Chess saw it coming, embraced that race, ran the outside to pick up second spot. And then Nathan Perkins and Damian Dietrich were off the racetrack at turn 4 on that lap as well. That nearly brought David Borden and Henry Ryback into the conversation at the start-finish line. I'm going to jump on board with Ken Estep here down a little further in the field for that final drag race up to the start-finish line after the Estep Memorial race a little earlier this weekend, a couple days ago. It's going to bring up in 14th. But as far as front battles go, I think this means, of course, we know David Borden wins the championship. Nathan Perkins clings on for second, but that was a dramatic run. James McDonald will hold on to third, despite running the fewest races of anybody in the top 10. Then we get to Jacob Guyton and Jose Navas. Stevie Ray gives us a nice little handbrake turn at the end. And there's a picture of Stevie on the right over on location at the Sim Racers group. Is that Jason Cotcher with him? Is that the captain? Here we go.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You know, I will say, I've had the olive branch extended to me to go out to SRG and visit it out there. I can tell you exactly how far west I have been. It is the final Lincoln, Nebraska exit of I-80 heading out west. That is the farthest west I've ever gone in my entire life. Maybe one day I'll have to take a trip out to Sim Racers group myself, so I can embarrass myself behind the wheel. that would be fun, and people would not take my commentary seriously after that. That is for certain. But as you can see, the podium finishers taking the final podium photo of this season before we get to burn it down. Once again, I want to thank you all for tuning into the action all season long here for the Sim Racers Group Formula 4 Championship. And folks, we are still in the early days of... Oh, no! We're still in the early days of Oh, no, they're hitting again. We're still in the early days of Champions Week here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Coming up tomorrow, we'll be able to bring you the season finale of the F3 Sim Racers Group Series, where it looks like we have got some champions to be crowned there. That'll be at Long Beach in just about 24 hours' time. You'll also be able to see the season finale of the Formula V Weekend Warriors and the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors on track this weekend on Slow Motion Broadcasting as well. Never miss out on the action by hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell. But with the donuts now being done, with the donuts now being done, let's take a look at your race results here for the final time in Season 2 of 2026. And here they are. James McDonald grabs the final checkered flag of this season. We can say that he's pretty much batting 1,000 as a slow motion broadcasting employee there. So that's a good little sign-on bonus. Yeah, you win every single iRacing event that you participate in for about a month afterwards. Jason Chess ends up about 3.3 seconds back in P2. Look at that. It was only 59 thousandths of a second between Jason Chess and Jacob Guyton. That's pretty darn good here. And they round out your podium in second and third. Nathan Perkins will finish in fourth. Damian Dietrich is in fifth. David Borden in sixth. Henry Ryback in P7. Jose Navas will be in eighth, with Greg Meyer and Sarah Vase completing your top 10. Pranay Ketanetti will be in 11th. Jason Trantham in 12th. Rudy Samudio in lucky spot P13. Ken Estep in 14th. Stevie Ray ends up in 15th place, and Ryan Chia, who fell out in the early portions, rounds out your cars classified here in the season finale of this championship. And Tom, I'm looking up there in the interview waiting area. I'm going to pass the mic off to you to have a chat with somebody and ask who you would like to have a chat with first.
Well, since we just saw his lovely face up on the screen, let's have a little conversation with Stevie Ray, who I think has stolen Jason Cotcher's headset and will be joining us here. Stevie, you got us here in the booth?
Yes, sir.
How's the time zone change treating you? Any jet lag kicking in yet?
Yeah, a little bit. It's been a long day.
I bet. So we got to see you in the race, obviously, but you're like I mentioned, 3 time zones across the country, racing in a different sim rig, visiting Sim Racers Group for the first time. Tell us how it's been.
Oh, it's been fun. It's a great place and everything. You definitely need to know your equipment when you race. I mean, at the start, obviously, I jumped it, and it's because I got 2 pedals here at home. My foot's on the clutch, and I can rev it. So when I put it in gear and I gave it some gas just out of habit, it jumped. So that's for not knowing your equipment that well. So. All good. It was fun.
It's a good deal. Yeah, it's funny. Move the toilet paper to the other side, and you forget how to wipe for a minute.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it feels, right? You change the sim rigs.
Yeah, exactly.
So we saw you a couple times in this league, and we've talked a bit about the cross pollination and the league hopping here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We get to see you guys on Weekend Warriors, and then obviously Sim Racers Group here. But what do you got coming up? This is kind of end of championship season for this season in a lot of ways, especially tonight here at this one. What's coming next?
Well, this weekend for the Weekend Warriors, we close out the season for them on Saturday for the Vs and Sunday for the Formula Fords and the SRFs. Regular season, week 12. And then the next weekend during week 13, we always have the V runoffs, big grid race. Has been a custom for, this will be the 49th, so that's more than, 12 years worth.
Wow.
And we got something a little special this time. We're doing kind of an inverted speed thing, and we've got a Formula race and a sports car race, and the formulas are going to have Formula Vs and Formula 4s, like the ones we just saw, and then the sports cars will have the SRF and the Radical. And the kicker is, if you choose the Vs, you have to choose the Radical. If you choose the F4, you have to choose the slower SRF. So people get to try a little different speed cars and see how they adapt. And the track's not going to be known until the session opens. So that's going to be the fun for this edition of the V runoffs.
I love it. You have to pick which race you want to run the fast and the slow car in.
Right. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
One slow. Yep.
Super cool. And that is coming up, a week and a half out on week 13? Is that what I said?
Yeah, week 13, the 14th of June or something like that, I think is the actual date. 17th, okay. Whatever that Sunday is, yep. And unfortunately, yeah, okay. So, June 14th, yeah. I had a trip when I retired set up to go see my sons in Denver, so I unfortunately cannot run it. But yeah. I've got a couple of admins that are going to step in and help make sure in session, and I'll have my laptop with me to help anybody get in the session. And there's always last minute questions and stuff, so yep. I'll be there for that. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. Like 49 times, 12 years, so it's a tradition. We put it out in the questionnaires, feedback whether it run its course or not, and everybody said no, we need to keep it, so we're keeping it.
Very cool. That's got to be one of the longest running non-official sim racing events on iRacing, period. I can't imagine there are many that have been running for over a decade, but that's super cool. Before we let you go, and don't go party too hard or anything out there in San Jose, but any shout outs or final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
Oh yeah, I gotta give a shout out to Jason Cotcher here, the captain. Appreciate him taking care of me, picked me up at the airport, ran me around today. We've been hanging out here, so he's got an awesome group, a nice place here. All the sim rigs set up really nice and for rookies on up. So I definitely have to shout out to him. He always says that I help him get the base to get this created, and it's an honor to be a small part of that. But he's definitely taken it to another level here. So big shout out to him and the group here.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for chatting with us again, Stevie. Enjoy the rest of your time out in California, and looking forward to talking to you soon.
All right, guys, take care. Thanks.
All right, Ron, I will pass the ball back off to you. Got a couple of other drivers to talk to before we cut this thing off.
Yes, I think we'll have a chat now with our Billy Award winner here in this season, and pretty good finisher here in this race when it was all done with. Ended up on the podium. Jacob Guyn, our new Billy Award winner. Jacob, before I ask you about the race, I do want to ask you about that Billy Award. It is a pretty high honor in the Sim Racers Group world, and I know you never got the opportunity to interact with Billy himself. But what does that award and being given really mean to you?
Yeah, I unfortunately never got to meet Billy. It means a lot to me, a lot. Just the fact that people respect not my presence, but just like respect racing around me. They know that they can, perform moves around me. We can go wheel to wheel, bump wheels even. A lot to me to get that award for that. And just, I'm just very appreciative of this community that I've joined within a year. I joined last year, and how fond I've become of them and how fond they've become of me. And yeah, it means a lot to me. I got quite emotional last night being awarded that. So yeah, it means a lot.
Yeah, now before we have to break out the other tissues here, I do want to ask you about this race. Probably needing to wipe off a different kind of moisture from your face. It looked like a very sweaty race here at Phillip Island. Very hard to try and manage, especially in that fight towards the end. How do you talk us through the race that we just saw?
Started off, I think Nathan got a little low off the line, which put James ahead of him a little bit going into turn 2. I think Nathan was able to hold him off a little bit, but I think me and James ended up getting around him. I think Nathan is pretty secured in points for P2 in the championship, so I was thinking like, oh, maybe he's just holding back. He's just holding his P3 position, which I was appreciative of, and I was just trying to stay behind James, try to scope him out, see where I could maybe take advantage of him. And I ended up making a mistake in turn 2, washed out a little bit, and Nathan's not just going to slam on his brakes, so he got past me until Nathan started putting pressure on James. But I think around halfway through the race, Nathan made a little bit of a mistake going into turn 4, which slowed me up. He spun, and so James kind of just walked away from there. I was hoping I could get around him. My goal this race was to get ahead of James, because I think we're only separated by like 3 points in the championship. But hey, all's well that ends well. I'm glad that I finished so high. Sorry to Nathan that he had to spin there, but big congrats to James for another win, and big congrats to David Borden. He still won the championship, and he kind of just took his time this race,
Had a bodily temperature roughly in the 90s, I think is probably the best way I could summarize the way he tackled this race. But either way, Jacob, a good season for you all around, some good performances. Now, I feel like I can make this assumption about a decent amount of the F4 grid here this season. Are we going to be seeing you get elevated, promoted, shoved, some would maybe say, up into F3 next year? Are we going to be seeing you make that step up?
Yeah, probably. I was trying to vibe out F3 a little bit earlier this year, but doing both F4 and F3, like when you're trying to be competitive, you can't do 2 cars, 2 tracks a week. That's a lot, at least for my brain. So I figured, different. Yeah, exactly. You have to drive them different. They look similar, from an outside perspective, but they are entirely different vehicles. I stepped away from F3, and I want to do my best to try to win a championship by the end of the year in F4, and I'm hoping that like, you know, when someone wins a championship in F4, they get involuntarily promoted to F3. I'm hoping that's my promotion to F3, but I think starting 27, if I don't get that, I'll just wipe my hands clean at F4, said, you know, I did a good job, and go up to F3, because I think that's where I'll learn more and find more pace.
Now, I will say from my own personal experience on iRacing, the F3 car that we still have here in the sim is probably my first love on iRacing. I would say it's probably still one of my favorite cars to this day. It is very, very fun, but just night and day difference from the F4 up into the F3. It is pretty much, they are open wheel cars that have, you know, 4 wheels and some wings, and that's kind of it. They're just completely different. But whether we see you here on Tuesday nights for the F4s or over on Wednesday nights for the F3s, we'll most certainly be seeing you back out there on the racetrack come time for the start of Season 3 in about 2 weeks' time, Jacob. But before we let you go and have a celebration here at the end of this season, we'll let you give any thank yous or shout-outs.
I just want to give a shout out to SRG, all of its members, everyone I've raced against, everyone I've raced with, endurance races, everyone that has been chipping into our real life endurance project car, and, you know, especially Jason, Tyler, Alex, and Steven, SRG admins. It's a very special place to be a part of. Big shout out to you guys, as always, for putting this on and making this feel like this is real life stuff. And yeah, just thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you as well for joining us here in the booth, Jacob. Congratulations on receiving the Billy Award. Well done on a fantastically driven season, and we hope to see you out there on the racetrack, whether it be in the F4s or the F3s. The suspense is killing me come time for the start of Season 3.
Thank you so much. You'll see me in one of them. That's for damn sure.
Yep, sounds like a plan. That right there was Jacob Guyton, our podium finisher here in this race, winner of the Billy Award, and potentially, we could cut this both ways, and a new driver in the F3s, and returning into the F4s for the start of Season 3. But Tom, I'll pass the mic back off to you to have another chat.
Yeah, we're going to talk to both of our newcomers here, both Jason and Henry. I'm going to grab Jason first, podium finisher. Jason, we got you here in the broadcast booth. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Got you loud and clear. Awesome stuff. So before we jump into tonight's race, tell us a little bit about your experience with sim racing. I did a quick stalk of your Discord profile here, and I can see that you're involved in quite a bit of it in different ways, but how'd you hear about Sim Racers Group, and what's your past experience, both real life and sim?
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I actually I've been in Ulster Motorsports stuff for a very long time, like many decades. And yeah, I used to do motorcycles, and got into a pretty bad accident a few years ago, and switched to sim racing. And well, actually, I got started sim racing a little bit before that. I got sucked into it by my buddy Skylar, who is a member here, and he's the one who actually invited me. He actually told me about the group like a year ago, because we were both looking for F3. We love the F3. We both love the F3. It's like my favorite car in the sim, and so I was. But the officials are always really dead by the time I get to race. So this was like a really cool opportunity that I joined recently, and I wanted to go through the official, first to the F4 and then move up to F3.
Yeah, very cool. So tell us a little bit about, joining this league tonight. It's first impression, right? But what is the first impression? Is this like these guys mean business, or is this all right, I can't wait to challenge for the championship next round, so next season, somewhere in the middle?
Well, first of all, the chatter in Discord was super friendly and fun, but as soon as like the flag went, people got pretty serious. It was awesome. I love that. It's a good mix,
Yeah, that's awesome. And while I'm thinking of it, is it what's the livery? Is it a horse, a pony, or a unicorn? What's the story
it's
there?
It's a knight, the chest.
Oh, there it is.
Knight. Yeah.
Very cool. I like that. So yeah, tell us about the race. I mean, you were involved in different battles all throughout, and it culminated in that epic duel with Jacob Guyton. How was it from your perspective?
I'm gonna have to rewatch it because I was shaking. It was such a good last lap, and both of us were like super on the edge. And yeah, he was like hard but fair. I hope I was the same, and it was good. I told him at the end I had to kind of go Senna on him a bit. So there was a little bit of a block pass there, but that's okay, right? Last lap.
Yeah, I would say so. Good from where we were sitting. Yeah, I mean, you guys put on a hell of a show. It was one of the best shows of the night for sure in the race. So, but definitely looking forward to having you with us through the championship next season. I don't know what the calendar looks like yet. Maybe you guys do. But before we let you go, any shout outs or final thoughts you'd like to leave us with here on the broadcast?
So 2 big shout outs. One is to Skylar for inviting me. Actually 3. One is to Jason C for just walking me through the whole process. And the biggest one is to my wife who let me race tonight because it's actually our date night. We actually moved it to Thursday just so I could race on Tuesdays. So big shout out to wife B.
I love that. So date night moves for a couple of months, but it'll be worth it. Looking forward to seeing you back in a couple weeks time for the next season, Jason.
Thanks a lot. This is fun.
All right, Ron, and we got one more. The other newcomer, Henry Reback.
Yeah, that we do. Henry Ryback joining us now in the broadcast booth. The newcomer had a pretty good race. Henry, welcome into the booth. Well done on a pretty good drive on your series debut. How was it out there, my friend?
It was really good. Yes, thank you. Well, I thought it would go much worse taking the qualifying. I thought P11 was a bit disappointing, but of course it's the debut. And P7, I'm really happy with it. And I'm also happy that I lost P6 to David Borden, the champion. Yeah, just very nice. I like it.
Yeah, pretty good debut to be squabbling up with the presumptive champion here this season. He pretty much had the championship all but fully locked down by the time you two start to battle. So are we going to be seeing you out there on the racetrack next season here in the F4 series?
Oh yes, for sure. I love it here. Very much yes. I hope all 12 races.
Yeah, we also have to see a new name, new face out there looking to squabble with some of the best guys here in this series. And quick little question here. We received confirmation for you midway through the broadcast. It's Ryback, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Ryback.
It's Ryback, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry,
well,
Henry, I got it wrong so many times.
You are not the only one to say it wrong, okay? So don't worry. It's okay. But it's Ryback, yes.
Oh, us broadcasters, it is basically our job to talk about race cars and butcher people's name pronunciations at least once. So, Henry, welcome into a very exclusive club, shall we say. But we hope to see you back out there on the racetrack come time for the start of Season 3 very soon, Henry. But before we let you go and get some practice in for the new season, we'll let you give any thank yous or shout-outs.
I will give a shout out to Jason and Jason, I mean Jason Cotcher, of course, for making me drive this race and not making me wait to the next season, and also to Jason Chess for doing an excellent debut race. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, hey, Henry, thank you for joining us here in the booth, and we hope to see you back out there on the racetrack come time for the new season in just about 2 weeks' time.
Yep, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That right there was Henry Ryback joining us here in the booth. Tom, it was one hell of a ride that we had here in Season 2 of 2026. Remember the first broadcast we did? I was just kind of lurking in the background with the production and everything set up before Josh could come in hot off the presses of the American Muscle Series shows. We got the opportunity to work together about a week later, and we've had one hell of a fun time since we got to have some fun here for the first time back in week 2. But now we shift our attention off into Season 3.
Yeah, my first Sim Racers Group Championship, it was so much fun. I mean, these guys, they put on incredible racing. You can tell the community is just super tight knit. They have the energy right. I can't wait for the next one. And it's been a pleasure doing it with you, Ron, and you, Josh.
You know, actually, I will say quickly, I will have to figure out a way that we can compensate you for the headache medication you've probably had to take being locked in the booth with me for the past 11 weeks. But I do want to give the floor very quickly here to Mr. Joshua Wilkie before we wrap things up. Don't really talk about this too much on the air, but Josh has gone through a pretty lengthy process over the past couple of years dealing with a neurological condition, and recently has undergone some treatment, which led to a GoFundMe page being started up by his wonderful wife, who I'm not just saying that because she's the one who handles petting us here on SMB, but it was a wonderful thing, and the community here on Slow Motion Broadcasting rallying together to raise some money to help our buddy Josh get some treatment for him to feel better. So Josh, I'll pass the mic off to you here real quick.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. And first of all, excellent job on the SRG season this year. It was awesome to watch, and what an amazing last round there. Had some really good battles. Hard for me to keep up with, actually, which is always fun up here in the booth. Makes it all worth it. But as you said there, Ron, my wife a few months ago started up a GoFundMe for me, and I just wanted to thank everybody here at SRG for the response to it. Has just been amazing. It's truly remarkable, pretty emotional for me. I just can't thank you guys enough for helping out. My life, can be pretty rough and frustrating living with this at times, and it got kind of turned upside down a year or so ago for a guy who used to be an athlete and stuff. This has really been a good thing for me to be able to do these races with you guys and put on these shows, and I just feel so blessed that you guys helped out the way you did. So thank you so much. As Ken Estep would say, keep doing what you guys do. You're doing good stuff there. And Jason, thanks a lot personally. I just wanted to make sure I personally thank you guys for reaching out for me and everything. It means everything, and I will be doing some updates and stuff for you guys in the near future here, maybe show you my sim room and stuff a little bit as well. So thanks a lot, guys. Again, just really appreciate it. And Ron and Tom, can't thank you guys enough for putting such awesome shows on. You guys put so much effort into this to make it sound real and awesome. So I just want to thank everybody, and that's it for me. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, us announcers are pretty much just the nose cone of the rocket. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to make these broadcasts possible, from Josh's wonderful production work, the other graphics that we were able to rock and roll here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, and of course, all the work that goes into organizing these events in the Sim Racers Group world, from Jason Cotcher, Tyler Hagan, all of the drivers participating in the events, and the community that continues to grow season after season. This is now the this is the 6th full season that we've gone to cover of Sim Racers Group F4 action here on SMB, heading into the 7th here in just a couple of weeks' time when we click over into season 3. I was there for the first ever broadcast. Josh was there for that show as well, and it's been one heck of a journey ever since then. And once again, would like to thank obviously everybody in the Sim Racers Group community, but more importantly, you, the viewer, for tuning into these broadcasts, supporting what we do here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, making the action possible. If it weren't for obviously the admins, the drivers, and you, the viewer, all these broadcasts would not be possible. We would just be talking off into cyberspace and cyberspace alone. But as to this broadcast here, for round number 12 of the Sim Racers Group Formula 4 Championship here at Phillip Island, that will just about do it. So for myself, Ron Maunz, Tom O'Gorman joining me in the commentary booth, and Joshua Wilkie working the cameras and the graphics and the virtual production hauler, I say thank you all so very much for tuning into the action all season long here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.
Bye.